So if you watch part 1 of this video, we took this Pentium 4 we had lying around, we fired her up, got Windows XP installed, and she ran pretty good. 256 megs of RAM, 9600 SC with 128 megs of memory for the video card, and a 2.4 gigahertz Pentium 4. So not too bad. 160 gig hard drive and some DVD drives that were kind of suspicious. So yeah, we were able to get this thing to work. We tried to play Crysis, and Crysis, primarily I believe it's because of the CPU, and the CPU specs are a lot higher compared to this one. Also, this one has 256 megs of RAM, and that requires more, and maybe even the video card was kind of a little weak sauce on it. So what are we going to do in part 2 of this? Part 2, we're going to throw all this junk in here, and let's take a look at the stuff that we got. So Crysis, what do we got? We got a sound card. Why are we going to put a sound card in here? Because, well, I have it. Why not? And it should run good. We got 1.5 gigs of, I know they're mismatched, DDR memory. Yes, 1.5, so that should be a nice little boost. An extra ribbon cable just in case we need it. An Ethernet card. Why are we going to put an Ethernet card in here? Because I'm not connecting to the internet or doing anything with it. Because, well, I have it. Why not put it in there? So let's put this over here to the side. That's for another project. We're going to put in another floppy drive because, well, like I said, we have it. Why not have 2 floppy drives? Maybe in the future might need to back up some floppies or do something with it. So let's pop that in there. But I don't think I have the right cable to do that. So we'll just put it in there for aesthetics. Now, our graphics card, our HD 2600 Pro. Oh yes, look at this beast. This right here is probably one of the very few video cards in this world that you could get for less than $20. I mean, even GT 1030s and everything are so expensive, and older graphics cards are just ridiculous. But anyways, this came newish in the box with all the lovely stuff for it. Has our PCI power, so you know it's got to be powerful. And this one has 512 megs of DDR memory. Now, to give you some specs and everything on it, let's get my paperwork over here so I can read it properly. This card was launched in June of 2007. The GPU is operating at 600 megahertz, memory is at 500 megahertz, major power. Supports DirectX 10, and it does not support DirectX 11 or 12, but it has 512 of DDR, so that might be able to help us with some of our games over here and just give us a little bit better performance in the event that we do decide we're going to do something different. So this is the card that we're going to use. We're going to pop this in there. Nice. Back in the day when cards were just so much simpler, even has a backplate on it, and I think that might be copper, which is pretty cool on that. And you got to love the AMD red aesthetic on it. So to go along with that, we have our CPU right over here. This is our, let's see if we can get it out. Can we do this one-handed? There we go. Man, they really shipped this thing good. Let's put you guys down for a sec. Alright, our CPU. This is not going to come in. I can barely read it myself, but it is a Pentium 4 3 gigahertz processor, socket 478. So we're going to pop this in. Hopefully they give us a little bit of boost and juice that we need. And for our computer, as far as drives, we're going to use this, a newer DVD drive, because this one is slow, and that might be one of the reasons why Crysis was taking forever just to load up. And this is the one that came with it, but this thing does not work, so yeah, out with the old, in with the new. And I do have some of these old stocks over here, but I think from what I remember, this one does work pretty good, so we're not gonna worry about that one. We're gonna replace this one over here. I do have a backup over here of this Mprex combo, whatever, yada yada. And this one is that other DVD drive that we have somewhere here, not the one I threw on the ground. So let's go ahead, let's switch angles, let's put it to our view so you can see us put us in, and let's upgrade this old computer from 2003 and make it newer ish, whatever. Yeah, oh yeah, 512 DDR2 and AGP 8X, but this is only AGP 4X, but it'll work fine. So let's switch camera angles. Alright, so first things first, let's take out this old graphics card, and then we'll get our memory out of here. I love this graphics card. I've actually owned this graphics card for probably, I think this came out in 2004, so I've actually had this graphics card for maybe 15-16 years. Maybe it came out a little later than that, but I've had it for quite some time, and she served me well. A lot of Need for Speed Underground with this one, definitely a lot. So let's put you to the side. I'm not going to throw it because I actually like that hardware and it works. Alright, next thing that we need to do, let's take out this memory, which, believe it or not, I've also owned this memory. This was actually in my Athlon XP build from years ago, and I actually have its brother or sister memory, and so good memory here. So let's put that right back over here. We're going to put that back into our archive. And the next thing that we need to do, so I didn't mention this in the old video, this fan is loud as really loud. It's just really loud and very aggravating. So I actually use one of these PWM, not PWM, these power reducers, whatever you call thingamabobbies, 5000, whatchamahoolit, call it, and it quieted down. Temps are fine on this. This thing doesn't have a temperature issue, but for some reason this fan just wants to let everybody know that she's here and she's very awake. So let's get this CPU out of here. Classic. If any of you guys that built computers in the past, or even actually run into these with the AMD Ryzen stuff or anything, take it out and sure enough CPU comes along with it. So we need to separate them. They need to have some separation in their life, so we'll definitely be separating that. Alright, let's pop open our ARM over here and let's introduce our new friend to our new, well, not new, but our new friend to its new home. So let's pop it right where it needs to go, match it up over here. Very nice, very nice. Hopefully this works. I've actually bought this stuff like months ago and I haven't tested it, so I'm outside the warranty. So if it doesn't work, I'm outside the money. But luckily all this stuff to include the video card was like 20 bucks, so shouldn't hurt too much. All right, let's slide you out. Luckily this thermal paste is not dry, but it still has a nice bond to it. So let's there we go, pop you out. This thermal paste is actually still pretty decent, but we're gonna just add a little more because, well, we can and we should. Actually, I'm probably gonna do something you guys are gonna cringe on. We're gonna do this. So let's pop in our CPU cooler. I know reusing old thermal paste, not ideal, all that good stuff, and yeah, but I'm really not going to be using this computer a lot, if really any, now that I think about it. Just wanted to relive some memory lane and some nostalgia on that one, so yeah, we're not going to be using this one too much. She will probably go back into her storage until we bring her back out and come up with another project, or if in 10 years we want to go even more ancient. So yeah, she'll be fine. She'll be fine. So now let's go ahead and let's pop in our memory. So for our memory, the cool thing is that it's mismatched. Yep, ideal. But they're the same speed, I think. I think they're the same speed. So yeah. So let's pop this in. No such thing as dual channel, so you don't have to worry about that at all or whatsoever. Alright, our memory's in. So now we need to fish out from our rat nest of wires, which is VGA. There we go. Yeah, well, there we go. So we have that, and let's kind of hide these back in here so nobody could ever see them or hear them. We will hide them. You will never see from them again. Let's pop in this beautiful graphics card. Which, now that I think about it, I think this graphics card might be too nice for this build. Ooh, she's got some little damage going on over there, so I didn't notice that. Let's bend her back out. Good enough. There we go. Now let's find our screw so we could secure her over here. And let's give her some power because, well, she's going to need some juice and beans. Or beans. I don't know. Alright, so that was pretty easy. So pop in some other goodies. So we were using the onboard sound. Well, I didn't have it playing in the background. But let's go ahead and pop this cable out right over here. Let's pop in our sound card. Oh, and just in case you're asking, this is a Creative ES1373. I really don't know what it is, but I would definitely post that down below in case you guys are real curious on this sound card. I've had it lying around for a while, and yes, an SB Live would be awesome and amazing for it, but for this, it's fine for now. Let's put in our Ethernet one over here. This is 100 megabytes per second one. I don't know if it works, but we'll find out. Very nice. Now for this, these were the connectors. So if you wanted audio from your CD, DVD drive, you kind of had to do this. It's kind of nice to get rid of it. So I don't remember which way it goes, but I believe it goes this way. And I mean, well, I know which way it goes. I just don't remember what color it goes into, but I think that'll be fine. So we're good. So we got everything popped in. We're good to go. So let's switch camera angles again, and let's see if it boots up. Maybe. No? Okay. Alright, so I wish I could say that after spending countless time and hours that this one's successful, but it kind of sort of didn't. So long story short, no screen, no post, yada yada yada, bum CPU. Guess that's what I get for buying this CPU a month ago and not testing it. So I'm out the $10 that I spent for it. Woo. But everything else works. Memory works, video card works, graphics card, all that good stuff works. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at our first game up for the lineup. And the game we're going to be taking a look at is going to be Max Payne 2. The Fall of Max Payne, a film noir love story, a breathtaking original ballet of death from computer gaming world. I love this game. I played the first one, I played the second one, beat them many times, so let's take a look back at this. I actually never played Max Payne 3, and I actually wonder if it's pretty decent. So if you know if it's pretty good, definitely chime down below and give me some input on whether that's a game I need to seek out and play. So let's load Max Payne 3. Let's try it with this new video card, and let's see what kind of performance we get. Alright, loaded up smooth. Let's resume the game because I tried this earlier, well, before I upgraded the video card and the memory. And I can tell you right now, the memory does make a huge difference on this. My loads are a lot smoother, and everything just seems to be running a lot better. So more memory does make a big difference with this. Now let's see how this game plays. We're going to be running it at 1080p, max settings, 32-bit, because that's how they used to do it back in the day. And let's see how we do. So when I first played this game years ago, I actually remember playing this game, and because the graphics card I had was not all that ideal, it was blurry, it wasn't smooth, it was just, it was a playable experience, but not the ideal experience that I would have enjoyed playing this game. So now I'm actually able to play this on average 60 frames per second, maybe some dips occasionally here and there, and man oh man, these graphics look great. The game's experience is smooth, and it's nice that almost 18 years later, I'm actually able to afford a decent video card that actually plays this game real well. So I'm going to play this a little more, and we'll come back and we'll see if Crysis wants to play nice with us. I highly doubt it, considering I couldn't upgrade the CPU, but who knows. So let me continue to play. Alright, so Crysis is actually working, so I was surprised. I really thought the CPU was going to hold it back, but this Pentium 4 CPU allows me to play it even at 2.4 gigahertz. Now granted, if I had the 3 gigahertz version of it, I'm sure I'd probably get a little better performance, but with this video card I'm able to get, and this is 720p, about 52 frames per second, and I'm sure maybe 40, so it's actually playable, and I'm actually able to play this game decent. Now granted, this game was always the slayer of PCs and notorious for just, I mean, crippling and bringing your PCs to your knees, but considering, you know, that all I did was just, well, double, triple, quadruple the memory and pretty much put a better video card in there, I'm actually able to play this game, and it's exciting because I can play Crysis. Well, yes, you can play Crysis on Steam and play the original one and play that remaking one, but it's nice to take a look back at this old hardware and just play it how it was designed to be played. And I'm sure if we found a better video card or put a better CPU in there, we could still have some more fun with this, or even do the IDE to SATA adapter and put an SSD in there. I'm sure we could have a even more better experience, but for the most part, it's playable, it's working, and it runs pretty decent, and I'm very happy with it. So I'm going to play this for a little bit, and then we will definitely talk about upgrading this computer. So significant improvement. Max Payne 1080p, all maxed out, almost 60 frames per second. Crysis 720p, 45 to 50 frames per second, playing on a Pentium 4, 2.4 gigahertz, this 512 DDR, AGP, 8X, whatever, HD 2600 Pro, 1.5 gigs of RAM, and we were able to take a nice walk down memory lane. So in part one, we just kind of built this and put this together. In part two, we just upgraded this and made it more enjoyable by having better specs on it. And the coolest thing about this build in part one, part two is that it's fun to take a look at this hardware and just relive your childhood, relive some old memories, some classic gaming and all that stuff. Yeah, I know, virtual machines, all that stuff and everything, but I don't know, it's just something about these IDE cables and DDR memory and just the beige and all that good stuff. There's just something about it that just classic computer. I will say this, and I said this in the first video, we spoiled. I mean, we've gotten spoiled with computers because it's so much faster, so much easier to build a computer, load it, install it. In fact, even going back to the 486 days where you had to like manually install and configure everything with the auto execs, config sys, all that stuff and everything, those were fun to do. And then we look back and now all we do is we pop in the USB thumb drive, install Windows automatically installs all your drivers, everybody's having a nice day, Steam, updates, all that stuff, and we're gaming in less than an hour. This kind of took a little bit of time to do because you have to install the drivers. There's none of that automatic updates, especially anymore, but having to find the drivers, update them, install them, and then waiting for the CD-ROMs and DVDs to load, which can take forever. So yeah, we've definitely gotten spoiled, but it's great to take a look back at this old hardware, give it back to life, and just have fun with it. So this computer, I mean, if this video shows a lot of interest and some likes, maybe we'll take a look at it some more and try to max out the CPU, maybe do an IDE to SSD adapter, which that's actually pretty cool to do, and do some other mods to it. But for the most part, I need this power supply for another project that we're getting ready to do, so stay tuned for that. So I'm just gonna pack her up, just put it back up in storage, and maybe come back in the future when I actually have more room to have her set up and give her a better home. But for the most part, very happy with her. She has survived over 18 years, and hopefully she'll survive another 5-10 years, or maybe even a couple of months when we decide to open her up and do something else for it. So if you liked the video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not. Thank you guys so much for watching, and like always, we'll see what we do next.